actually going to be doing like a makeup therapy routine. It's going to be a very like simple holiday glam makeup look. So hopefully this video will be helpful with giving you a little bit of tips and tricks for a holiday glam look for all of your holiday festivities and events this year. If you're interested in seeing more, stay tuned. Alright guys, so I already prepped my face. I washed my face and actually already put like my moisturizer on. So another step that I'll show you guys that I actually add to my routine during the winter season because it is really dry outside. I use the e.l.f. Hydrating Booster Drops. And these are very beneficial when wanting to hydrate your face. I do have like normal combination skin. I don't really have... I wouldn't say I have dry skin. I do in some areas, of course, but this is always the first thing that I do. So I just add this to my face, and definitely like under my under eye area for sure. And another thing that I also do, and I do this year round, I prep my lips while I'm doing the rest of my face with Lady's Lip Sleeping Mask. And this just helps my lips like hydrate themselves while I'm actually doing the rest of my face. The first thing I actually do is do my eyebrows. So for my eyebrows, I use Precisely My Brow. And then it's by Benefit. And a few years ago, I actually got like a holiday set that featured like the Precisely My Brow and like 3 other brow products in addition to like this spoolie brush. So I actually use this to go ahead and brush my hairs up. I don't really like too much of a full brow, like a natural brow. So I just go in here and I trace along like where my natural like arch is. So I do get my eyebrows waxed. It's definitely easier when your eyebrows are like freshly waxed. And I actually got mine waxed maybe a week ago. It was like before Thanksgiving. So it's easier to trace along that. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your eyebrows. It does take a little bit longer like to clean them up if you haven't had them done in a while. So here you'll just see me filling in my brows. And again, tracing like already along like my natural arches. So it's easier when you're doing the bottom to brush your hairs up, and when you're doing the top to brush them down, just to make sure you're not like tracing or drawing outside of the natural arch. And I try not to go too far up. As you can see, I put like too much up there. I try not to go too far up towards like the center, and then I add a little bit of the arch up here because I feel like my eyebrows are like starting to get skinny. Alright, so as you guys can see, they are a little fuller than what they were when I started, and you can see that I started like actually filling in where you see those gaps. You definitely don't want your eyebrows to look sparse, and I try to do a little lightly up towards the center because like I said, I try not to do it too dark. I definitely want like a more natural brow. So that is the first step, the Precisely My Brow. And then Bravo Conditioning Primer from Benefit as well. And I feel like some people have told me that they use this prior to like filling them in, and then some people tell me that they use it like after. So I actually go in and I set my brows prior to concealing them. So this is actually too much. So those were 2 Benefit products, and the next thing I'm going to do is conceal my brows. So you'll just see me clean up around the area of the brow. And this one, I've actually like been toggling between like 2 different concealers. So I recently just purchased the Dior Forever Skin Correct concealer. And this is in shade, what shade is this? Oh, 4W. And then I also purchased like the e.l.f. 16-hour camo concealer, and this is in Tan Sand. So I have noticed that this one is way too light. So sometimes I actually do mix that in my face, but for today I'm going to be using the Dior Skin Correct concealer in shade 4W to conceal around my brows. So for this, I actually don't remember where I got this concealer brush from, but this is the brush I'm going to be using. It is just a regular concealer brush. I really don't remember which brand it was. Okay, I've had it for so long at this point. But I'm just going to not take a lot of product and take it and clean up around my brow. Again, I like to brush my hairs up if I'm concealing under the brow, and then down if I'm concealing on top of the brow. So we're actually gonna just go ahead and conceal. And so I'm just gonna do this. I found that it's beneficial to like do this in one swipe. I feel like it's like a cleaner line. Then I go in with my Real Techniques brush, and this is the Expert Concealer brush, and then I just buff it out. Like I drag it down underneath. And this also provides a great like primer for your eyelid. And I found that like when you're not wiping it off, it conceals a lot easier. So you want to make sure that you're like patting the product and not dragging it. So I'm not going to do this. I'm like patting the product into my skin. All right. Alright, so now that my brows are completely like filled in and concealed, I actually go in again, just because I feel like I put too much concealer on this part. I just go in again and like try to fill that in so that it doesn't look white from my concealer, because my brows are definitely brown. So yeah, I just go back in, just make sure like every spot is filled in. So yeah, brows are done. All right, moving on. Let's do eyes. So I'm not big on like eyeshadow, but I feel like for the holiday times, like people try to get a little bit more like glitz and glam. So I'll be going in with the pressed powder eyeshadow palette, and that is by Hip Dot with their collaboration with Face by Kareem. And I love, like I've used this palette maybe once or twice, and I love the colors. Like the colors are just gorgeous, especially for like a fall time frame. So you'll see a little bit of the shades that do have glitter, and then the other ones are like a solid cream color or matte finish. So I'm going to go in first. Now that I've primed my eyes with my concealer, I'm actually going to add a little bit more because I feel like I didn't put enough. So I'm just going to like dab. Yeah, that's a lot. I'm just going to dab this concealer all over my lid with that Expert Concealer brush from Real Techniques. And yeah, so that just gives you like a base to start with for your shadow. First, I'm going to go in with like this nude color. It's called Sin Nudes. And I'm going to put that all over my lid. So this is a Morphe brush. The thing I don't like about Morphe brushes, they don't have like a number or anything on them. But this is just a regular flat eyeshadow brush. So I'll be going in with Sin Nudes all over my lid. And this is just going to provide like a really good base color for shadow building. And I'm just going to pat that all over my lid. And take it all the way up to like where the crease starts. So this is the next color I'll be going in with, like this rust color. It's called EE. And I'll be going in with like a rounded eyeshadow brush. For this color, I'm going to be starting out on my outer corner and working that like inwards towards my inner corner. And I just want to provide some color. Not a lot, but I want some color in there. So we're just going to build that out. And again, I'm like doing this from my outer and working my way into my inner corner and taking that slightly under my crease. And I try to center my brush downward. That's usually easier to apply a shadow and blend. So we're gonna keep blending this out. And I'm liking how this is looking. This is actually really pretty. I wasn't sure how it was gonna look because I'm not an eyeshadow girl. But again, this tutorial, I'm really trying to make it beginner friendly because we all gotta start somewhere, okay? So yeah, I'm starting to like how this is looking, and I'm just gonna build upon this color a little bit more because it's not as vibrant as I would like. So this is the next color I'll be going with, and it's called Astoria, and it's like a darker brown color. And I'll be taking this color right around my crease. So I have a little bit more of like a tapered fluffy brush. So this is what I'll be using on my crease, and this is smaller. So it'll give me a little bit more like definition. So I don't want to put too much. You want to definitely make sure for eyeshadows, you want to make sure that you start off with a little bit of product first and build it up as much as possible or however you want. So I'll be taking this from the outer corner and literally only applying it to my crease. So the next color I'm going to be using is this color called King, and it's down at the bottom right hand corner. And it's like a goldish like shimmer color. So one trick that I have learned when applying like shimmer colors, so this is actually like the color that it looks like. It's not too pigmented. So the first thing I'm actually going to do, and I don't know why I just did that. So the first thing that I'm going to do is actually just use a little bit of setting spray on the brush just to wet it a little bit. It just makes the shimmer apply a little bit more like pigmented than it would be if you didn't apply it. So I'm just going to tap my brush in here once it dries a little and try to pick up as much color as I can. And this color I'm going to be applying right in this inner corner. And so I decided just to take it down a little bit into that inner corner and then work it into the middle of my eyelid. And you want to make sure you don't get it in the crease. And we're going to go back in and blend it with that second and third color that we used. So I'm going to go back in with the very first fluffy brush that we used with the color EE. And we're going to blend this out. When I'm like doing like a quick makeup look, I try not to use too many different colors because you have to blend your shadow or you will be out here looking crazy. And we don't want you out here looking crazy, sis. We don't. We really, really don't. And I'm actually going to go in again and apply a little bit more of King to the top. And you just want to keep building it up until you like it. Like, that's the thing about makeup. You can make it however you want. Can't nobody tell you that you're not doing it right, okay? If it comes out looking cute, it comes out looking cute, period. Okay? So another thing that I'm going to do that I like to do with and clean up my shadow is actually take that concealer brush again that I use to prime my lids, and just touch up a little bit right underneath the eyebrow, and then also in the corner. And we're just going to clean it up a bit. And one last thing, you're going to go in again with Astoria, and along that crease, going to blend it out. Alright, so next we're going to go in with Astoria again, and that's that brown color, right along the crease, and blend that out as much as we can, just to make a seamless look. I'll be applying a little bit more of King in my inner crease, just to make sure that that color is like not missing. You want to make sure it's blended, but you definitely want to make sure that you can see the color that you are hoping to see. So I'm very satisfied with my eye look so far, and I'm going to be applying mascara, eyeliner, and my lashes after I finish my face. So first step for my face, I usually prime with a few different products. It really just depends on where I'm going and like what look I'm looking for. So in the summertime, I usually use like the Fenty Beauty, and this is the matte primer. But today I'm going to be using the Milk Hydro Grip Primer, and as you can see, this is one of my favorite products because it is almost gone. So this is the one that I start with first, and I love, like, this primer is amazing. For my girls who have like hair on your face, this is like the perfect thing to like lay your hair down, because sometimes your makeup just doesn't go on smooth when applying your foundation, and I really hate that. And that's kind of why I do my dermaplaning facials as much as possible. So yeah, so we're just going to apply that to the face, pat that in. The next thing I'm going to be applying, I haven't used this yet, and it's the Farsali Liquid Glass Radiance Makeup Skin Serum with hyaluronic acid. I'm going to be trying the liquid glass today, and let's see if I like it. I love the consistency. Ooh. So I'm just going to be applying that in the areas that I know get really dry, and that's usually like around my lips and under my eye and my forehead, like the middle of my forehead, a little around my hairline too, like, because again, I say I get lots of hair on my face. So I'm actually going to apply a little bit more of the Milk primer around like where my hair is at, because I don't want that to interfere with the application of my foundation. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing is actually concealing my face a little bit. And I have noticed that when I put a concealer on prior to putting on my foundation, it actually gives it a little better coverage, especially if I'm going to be using a foundation that doesn't have too much of that coverage. So the first thing I go in with is the concealer, and this is from Juvia's Place, and this is in the shade 10. And I really love this concealer. I love how it applies, and I love its consistency. So I let that sit on my face a little bit, and then I'll blend that out, and then I'll be applying my foundation on top of this. So this is the Sonia Kashuk Marble Blending Sponge that I found at Target, and they actually had this in a pack of 2 for $10. So I'm just going to be using this to blend out my concealer, and I'm going to be taking it a little where my eyebrow ends. So I'm going to be using it from the inner corner to where my eyebrow ends, and that'll clean up where you had like some additional product from your eyeshadow. Just a little trick. So you don't ever want to use your beauty blender in a wiping motion. You definitely want to make sure that you're patting the product into your skin. So now that that is blended all in, I'm going to be taking the NARS Sheer Glow Foundation, and this is in the shade Tahoe. I typically have used the Fenty Hydrating Foundation in my makeup routines before, but I've honestly been like leaning more towards like a natural radiant finish. So I like something that's not too cakey, and I don't want it to be too heavy on my face. So I like to use a sheer foundation now, more recently. So I'm just going to pump a little bit of this on my hand, and I'm going to actually be going in with my Expert face brush, and this is also from Real Techniques. And the first thing I'm going to do is actually wet this a little bit again with some setting spray, and this just helps it easier again for my girls who have hair on your face. Wetting your brushes is key, okay? So I'm just going to be using as little product as possible to cover my face, and then just covering my face in this foundation, and then I'll go in with my beauty blender and blend it out. So I'm going to be using the Dior Skin Correct Concealer in shade 4W to highlight. And so for this, I'm going to be applying a little bit of it under the eye. I'm not going to drag it down. I'm actually going to drag it up and out. So here. Up and out. I'm going to do a little bit around the nose area. Like I'm going to go down here and around the nose. And then we're going to do a little on the forehead. And I don't really like to do too much on my forehead, to be honest. I don't want it to be too bright. And then a little on like the bridge of my nose. So that's the areas that I conceal. So I'm going to be going in with the Rare Beauty, and this is their concealer brush that came with the Selena Gomez collection. And I'm going to be using this to blend out my concealer, just because I feel like it's a little bit more precise in getting the concealer where I want it to go. And then I'll go in with my beauty blender again and blend that out. I'm not really too big on the contouring, but I do try to go in with like a darker shade just to give a little bit of contrast, especially when I'm doing something that is more like an everyday look. So I just go in with this matchstick, and this is by Fenty Beauty, and this is in the shade Truffle. So I'm just gonna go in a little bit around my hairline here at the top. And I'm just going to go, I'm not going to go in the center. I'm just going to go like around here, this area. And then I'm actually going to be taking it a little bit higher than where my cheekbone is, because I don't want it to look like a 5 o'clock shadow. So my cheekbone is actually here. So I'm just going to be dragging it a little bit higher than where my cheekbone is, so that when I blend it, it goes where I want it to be, if that makes sense. And then because my face is like a little bit more of like an oval shape, and I want to give it a little bit more of like a structure, I put some down here at the bottom, and a little here under my jawline. So you can kind of see where I contour. Because that is cream, and like I said, whenever you are applying something that is of a liquid formula, I like to spray my brush. And this is also a Real Techniques brush, and this is the Rebel Edge medium brush. Love this brush. Like, this is great for blending out your contour, especially if you're using like a cream contour. It's awesome. Like, it's perfect. So I'm just gonna actually be dragging my contour down a little bit closer to my eyebrow. And then for this one, you see that this brush has a narrower tip and this wider. You're gonna position the brush where the narrower end is, where your cheek is, because that is where, you know, is the more narrow part of your face. And you're gonna have to switch that when you go on the opposite side. And you wanna blend that upwards. As you can see, like, this is a soft contour. I don't like too much of a contour. That's just my liking. But hey, you can add more cream contour if that fits your fancy and that's like the look that you're going for. And again, go in with the beauty blender just to make sure there are no harsh like lines and your face is looking seamless. Because I feel like the highlighted areas where I kind of like want a little bit more of like a luminescent like feeling, I'm actually going to go in with the e.l.f. 16 Hour Camo Concealer and just add a little bit of that under my eye and a little bit on my forehead. Like I was saying earlier, when my skin gets a little light in the wintertime, I feel like I have to go in with lighter products to get the highlight effect that I want. So yeah, I'm just going to blend that in. So now I'm going to go ahead and set my face, and I set my face with Fenty Beauty, and this is the Pro Filter Instant Retouch Setting Powder, and this is in shade Honey. And I use this to set my entire face before like I bake the concealed and highlighted areas. So I just take a Real Techniques, I love Real Techniques clearly, and this is just a general powder brush. So I just take this powder and I go ahead and set my entire face. I'm going to go ahead and go in with the Kat Von D Lock-It setting powder, and this is in shade Translucent. And for this, I'm not going to be using the same brush. I'm going to be using the Real Techniques brush again. And this is the setting brush. And you can see that this one is a totally different size than the one I was using before. But this is perfect in getting like a precise bake in those smaller areas of your face. So I'm actually going to be going in with the Black Radiance Press Powder, and this is in shade Warm Hazelnut, and I'm going to be taking this around where I contour, so around the forehead area, a little on the cheekbone, and a little underneath the jawline. I'm actually going to go in with the color Raisin from Matte, and this is one of their powder blushes. So of course I highlight the apples of my cheeks and I swipe that out in a swiping motion and blend that out. So the next thing I'm going to do is actually for the eye, and I'm going to be taking another Morphe brush that, again, I don't know the number, and taking that color Astoria and applying that right to my lash line. And then I'm also going to go in with that King color, this gold shimmer color, and add a little bit of that to my under eye inner corner. So here, just to highlight that. And you can drag it out as far as you like. I don't like to drag it out too far because I want that inner eye corner to be highlighted. I'm actually going to be applying the Ardell 3D Faux Mink Lashes, and I've actually worn these already before. So I'm going to be applying these today. Alright guys, so now that lashes are done, I actually missed the step. And typically I like to actually spray my face while like it's still setting, and then actually apply my highlight while my face is a little like damp. So I'll be going in with the Too Faced Hangover Spray. If you know me, you know that I rant and rave about this setting spray. It is amazing. So you want to always make sure that you shake any setting spray that you're going to use first before you apply. So I'm just going to be applying Champagne Pop as my highlighter for today's look. Alright, so now that the highlight is applied, I'm going to be going in with the NYX lip liner, and this is in shade Toast. As you can see, it's like a brown color, so I'll be lining my lips with that. I was really trying to decide which lip I wanted to go with. So it was between Naturally Transformed by MAC, which is like this nude color, and then we have Confess by Morphe. So I think I'm actually going to go with Confess by Morphe, and this is like a cute brown color. Alright, so that is all for today's makeup look. Let me know in the comments below if you guys end up using my tutorial for any of your makeup looks. I'm definitely interested to hear about it. Hopefully this look was easy and simple for you to do when getting ready for your holiday festivities this year. Happy holidays, guys, and thanks so much again for tuning in. Bye.